Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live stream. It's not going to be a usual Q&A. I'm joined by mods Sween and Marcos, and we're going to be talking about various different topics. Marcos is going to be with us for the first 15 minutes or so, and then you'll be left with just myself and the lovely Sween as we bid him farewell and the best of luck in his future endeavours. I may shed a tear or two, but that's okay. It's just the onions being chopped up, ready for dinner. How are you doing today, Sween? What have you been up to?
I'm good, mate. I've been on like an all-day meeting with you. You've been talking about polling.
It's been fun, hasn't it?
It has been. We discussed a lot of cool stuff. Trying to work out, what players want from the polling system, what players need from the polling system. Are we offering them that? Are we offering them enough say in things like content, roadmap, planning, scheduling, that type of stuff? So it's been a good, productive call. What a way to sign off.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say, like, one day before you're due to leave, let's just talk about polling for 5 hours. But it was a really useful meeting, and I'm, glad to be taking that one over once you've gone. Thanks for that, Sween. Appreciate it. Marcos, how are you doing today? What have you been up to?
I'm good, thanks. We've had our sprint review today, so we've been kind of seeing some of the cool work the team have been put together over the last few weeks. And generally, obviously, we've been catching up on a few things as well.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well, I got some announcements to go through, and then let's jump into the questions afterwards. So first of all, !game update. We want to hear from you. Our newest game update gives you the chance to test out the rewards for both Tomes of a Mascot as well as Nex. We've already got feedback rolling in, so make sure to jump onto one of the beta worlds and tell us what you think. And to make sure the season of Spooky continues, also head over to Varrock Square and help the Edgeville monks in our spooktacular Halloween event. And that's not all. You can also check out the third drop of the new Steam client features, including XP trackers and more. Now, I know some people are thinking maybe the rewards from Nex and Tombs of a Mascot were quite underwhelming, but I've seen a lot of good feedback coming out since the beta went live, where a lot of opinions have shifted, and actually there are quite a lot of use cases for some of the rewards. So maybe you'll be surprised. I'm not saying this to try and twist your arm and make you feel one way or another. Just highly advise that you go and check out the beta worlds. They're there so you can go and test out all the content in game, figure out where you might want to use those items, and whether or not there's something that you want to be coming in to the poll, or we need to make some big changes. Next up, we have Leagues 3, and that's the number 3. After much discussion and deliberation, we've made the difficult decision to delay the launch of Leagues 3, Shattered Relics, and that's going to be until January 2022. We will be talking about that in just a moment, hence why Mod Marcos is here with us. This new version of the league, though, will therefore be playable between January the 19th and March the 2nd. Type !Leagues 3 in chat to find out the latest. And then our last announcement is something that we tweeted out earlier today, but Melvor Idol. Not necessarily entirely old school related, but what do you AFK when you're playing old school? Well, the obvious answer is Melvor Idol, which is a feature-rich RuneScape-inspired idle game that's now being supported and published by Jagex Partners. Find out more about the new partnership with Melvor Idol, and on that note, I need to refresh my farm run, so I'm going to do that right now as Mark answers the first question. And the first question I want to ask is essentially, let's basically just talk about leagues. There's obviously been a lot of feedback coming in since we posted our announcement yesterday, Marcos. Can you maybe run us through how we came to the decision to delay the league until next year?
Yeah, there's a few things to cover, I think. So I guess to start off with, it's worth being clear that obviously we didn't take this decision lightly. We knew that there were a lot of people really looking forward to playing the league, and also, there's people with booked days off work and so on, so they could try and get a head start on it and things as well. So we knew that there'd be people disappointed in the fact it was being delayed, and we also recognised that the fact that it was obviously a pretty short notice really was kind of not ideal. So I want to take the opportunity to try and explain that a bit further about kind of like how things happened, I guess, so it's a bit clearer for people. I think probably the starting point really is probably to say, like, obviously in an ideal world, the Group Iron Man would have been released probably after Leagues. Leagues is like a finite period of time, and then you would have like a reasonable gap, and you'd have Group Iron Man, which is obviously a new mode that people can kind of play indefinitely. But with the way things were, Group Iron Man was already kind of first because it was built off the back of the kind of the clan technology, and it was something we committed to quite a long time ago. Like I think it may even have been like 2017 or 2018 we first originally spoke about Group Iron Man. So obviously we were super keen to try and get that to you, to the players as soon as possible. Whereas Leagues is obviously, we knew it was really popular, but it's relatively new, I guess, in the scheme of things. And then also, as many people have kind of commented, the release schedule over the last few months has not been superb in the way that we've had a lot of kind of game modes kind of back to back. Obviously, we've had Dead Man, and then we had Group Iron Man, and then we were going to have Leagues, and it's meant that there's been they've all been quite compressed with not an enormous amount of time together. And the honest thing is, we actually had originally a bigger gap between Group Iron Man and League 3. But then some work on Group Iron Man, obviously just needed a bit more time to kind of get it right. And I think that with hindsight, obviously the correct thing to do at the time would have been to push League 3 back at that point. As soon as that became obvious, and that's probably one of the kind of the main learnings we've kind of taken from this. And I'd also probably kind of elaborate a few things. So when I joined the team, it feels like a while ago now, but I think it was only like a month or something, was I saw like various questions from, both on social media and even from within the team about like the gap. Was it the right kind of gap between the two releases? And it was, at that time, it felt unclear about how much overlap there would be between people playing Group Iron Man and then playing League 3. But then once Group Iron Man launched, and obviously, it's been like extremely popular and people have got really into it, and it's not just a lot of people playing it, but people have played it a lot, so they've really stuck with it and played it over quite sustained periods of time. And then once we began to get the data from that, we could see clearly that there was going to be a lot of people who were going to play the League who were currently in Group Iron Man, and we're going to end up in the position of people having to leave their group to start doing the League, or people who were in groups who found they had a load of people left, and then their group was weakened because the people had gone over to the League and things. So once we kind of realized that was an issue, we pretty much immediately kind of got together and started working on like an alternate kind of release strategy, and as soon as we could, we kind of communicated it to the community. Although, like I said, I realized that ideally that would have been a lot earlier. I think one of the learnings around it is also we could have been better in terms of our transparency around the fact that we were keeping an eye on the release date, so that people knew that it was something we were cognizant of it being an issue, I suppose. So I think once we knew we had to review it, because Group Iron Man, we should probably give in the community a heads up so people are aware that it was something that was being discussed, rather than it being so kind of abrupt when people found out yesterday. And I think that that's obviously something we can do better. Like the plan is obviously for League 3 to be released in January, as we kind of, for the reasons we outlined yesterday. But I think the fundamental thing is, and that we need to avoid in the future, is the issue of having such big releases so close together and having better spacing of the bigger releases. And I think that means in the future that, because it's the work we're doing is a creative process and it's game development, so the dates will inevitably move at points, but we want to be able to do it so that you get better notice of it, so that if there's a bigger gap between these major releases, we then do have the wiggle room if we need like an extra sprint or something to like really polish it, or something that some of the technology is more difficult than originally envisaged, or there's something that happens with general releases that we need to take into account. That means you've got better notice, so you're being less kind of like jumped around kind of at the last minute, I think.
Okay, a lot of info in there. Hopefully that's helped explain the situation a little bit more from our perspective for everyone in the chat. Really appreciate that, Marcos. You've mentioned content planning a few times in that response there. Could you perhaps let us know more about your approach, or at least the team's approach maybe, towards content planning in 2022?
Yeah, so we're currently in the midst of doing a reasonable amount of planning for 2022 and kind of onwards. I think one of the main things that we're cognizant of and that we know we want to improve is making sure that there are less kind of barren periods in the release schedule. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of fairly substantial game modes kind of back to back, and it's meant that there's not been the level of updates we would ideally have kind of going into the main game. And I know that that's been commented on quite a lot by players, and we're fully aware of that. So when we're planning the roadmap, one of the things we're looking to do is trying to make sure it's as balanced as possible. And I touched on this a bit in the last live stream, I think, as well, but it's making sure that all of the different parts of the community are better represented, and we're making sure we're releasing like regular updates for people who do PvP versus PvM versus like skillers and questers and so on, and making sure that's all like properly done. So there's kind of meaningful updates across the year for people that give them, that gives them people good value for their subscription and so on. And then at the moment, we're currently going through the process of trying to balance out. So we've got a number of ideas from the team. We've also got some previous commitments, things that we've said to you before that we want to kind of release into the game. And we want to make sure they're not forgotten. So we're trying to kind of like put that together, a bit of a Tetris style kind of like roadmap with all the things kind of balanced out. And then we're working on that at the moment. And once we got that to a better place, I think there'll be we need to kind of obviously start sharing that with yourselves.
Okay, that sounds great. I look forward to, hopefully having a little bit better in terms of planning for next year, especially given the response that we've had this year, essentially now coming towards the end of it. Looking forward to 2022, though. I know that we've done a little bit of early planning so far for what might be to come, and it looks really exciting. So, full faith in that being sorted. Thank you again, Marcos. While I've got you here, I'm just going to put you on the spot. Apologies in advance. But I would like to bring up the Deadman rerun. This is obviously something that's been over a month now since Deadman happened. Can you let us know what the current situation is with this, please?
Yeah, so we still want to rerun Deadman if possible. I guess it's fairly similar to what we said last time. So we want to rerun it if possible, but we need to be confident that we can run it well and we avoid any kind of some of the issues we've experienced before. We've been running the events and so on. So we're doing a fair bit of work kind of behind the scenes to try and improve how that works, I guess is the best way to describe it. And then once we've got to a point where we're happy with that, then we'll have further communications and kind of outline like how we'll be doing the rerun and so on. But like I said, we need to be confident that we can run it well. That's the fundamental thing we're trying to get to.
Yeah, I guess it would be not ideal if we were to rerun it and run into the same problems again and then have to rerun again and then rerun again. But it's good to know at least then the intention is at least to rerun that when we're able to. So I look forward to that. Thank you again, Marcos. I have to be really unprofessional. I apologize. I'm going to just move away from my chair for 2 seconds. I accidentally left the dog's lead in the other room and my fiance doesn't want to go past on cam, so I'm just going to go and grab it and then I'll be right back. Sween, Marcos, entertain yourselves for a second. Thank you.
Try.
Some small talk.
It's not the least unprofessional thing he's ever done, though, is it? Let's be honest. It's all good.
So, you feeling emotional, Sween?
You know what I am, and I've had to hide the chat because it just kept making me, again, quite unprofessionally, kept making me grin too much. So bad influences. I am really emotional, especially coming into the office today, and I'll be in the office tomorrow, and we'll be going to the pub tomorrow after as well with the old school team. That's when I think the waterworks will start. And I'm intrigued as to what questions Aida's got for me. I've not seen them.
Well, there's not that many questions, to be completely honest with you. So
Okay.
I apologise. We're just going to have a bit of a chat, I reckon. Marcos, you're welcome to stay around now. Apologies. Otherwise, if you want to watch me and Sween talk and maybe get involved in a few of the questions yourself, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I'm sure there are more important things that you can be getting on with.
Aida's saying you'll be third wheeling.
I think I'll leave you guys to it.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. You bear in mind, Sween said those words for Marcos, not me. Okay. All right. I'd love to continue having you on here. I promise. Chat, if you have any, see you later. Thank you for the answers earlier. If you have any questions that you want to ask Sween, feel free to post them in the chat at OldSchoolRS. It is going to be Sween's last stream, the last time we'll ever see him as a JMod with the words Mod Sween listed underneath that glorious beard of his. So yeah, now is your chance. Any kind of things that you feel like you want to ask someone who's been in the studio for, what is it, 6 years now, Sween? 5, 6 years?
Just over 6 years, yeah.
Just over
August 2015.
Years. Whew, you're like a veteran, dude. And you have to take a piece of the carpet with you that's stuck to your foot. But yeah, if you have any questions you want to ask him that might be about Jagex, about the studio, about old school, or just in general, maybe what routine he has in the morning to I don't know, tame his mane. But the first question I want to ask you, Sween, all right, and we're going to dig into some interesting ones here, hopefully, but they're only going to be interesting if you give us interesting answers. So remember, this is your last stream, so don't let us down, all right? Because this is going to be
really boring.
This is how you'll be known.
So all right.
Yeah, this is how you're going to be known now going forward of all time, your penultimate stream. So it's like, let's give us good answers. And the first one I want to ask you is, what is your favorite moment of all time since you've joined Jagex?
Oh my God. I've got 6 years worth of stuff. All right, okay.
The first
If you
time we
don't
met?
retaliate and try and throw me under the bus, can I tell you my favourite ever moment? It's come right to my head, and it was the most I've ever laughed as a JMod.
Yeah, I already
TwitchCon
know what's happened in my. I can feel the pain of it in my head already.
TwitchCon 2017. We got back from the event. We're going back into our hotel, and it's like all the doors were big, wide glass panes.
That was a beautiful hotel.
Who were we? I think we were with me and Archie and Guns Chili. We walked in and we were waiting for you. I think maybe we were outside on the phone to your fiance, and then you trying to walk in to join us, and then we just saw you walk into the glass pane, like the window next to the door, and just fall backwards, like flat on your back. That's probably the best moment.
Yeah. Oh dear.
We
I remember.
asked the reception if we could watch it, and they wouldn't let us. If we could watch the CCTV.
All I remember is coming back around after knocking myself out quite literally, to the three of you just crouching over me with tears dropping onto me from how much you were
That's the
laughing.
funniest thing.
And then I woke up in the bath 3.5 hours later.
Yeah, I mean,
No
that was
recollection
dangerous,
of how I got there. Yeah, no, that was dangerous.
in the
So
bath.
that is why I think, yeah, all right, good moment, but there's also a very serious story underlying here, and that is drink responsibly. Okay? That's a
Use the door.
very important message. And use the door. That might help. Okay, all right. Thank you for that one, Sween. You know what? Probably one of my favorite moments as well is that trip, but for reasons that I'm not going to share on the live stream because you asked me not to throw
That's
you
why I
under,
said
so-
don't retaliate and throw me under the bus. There are moments from that trip I don't want to talk about. Let's not. Move on. Next question, please.
Yeah, moving on. Next question. Let's put it into a bit more of a professional sense now, I guess. What project have you enjoyed working on the most?
Ooh. Can I give you a couple?
Go on then, I'll let you.
I think. Thank you, kind. Old School Mobile was one where I think I learned the most in a really short period of time. So I was when I joined Jagex in 2015, I was in the support team, and then I moved to Old School like community management in middle of 2017.
Yeah, you took
And
my job,
obviously-
I remember.
And then you got a job. That's funny. I don't know if I've ever told players
carry
about that. We were in the
Don't
same
think
interview
so.
for this job together. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Funny how it
were.
works out. But in that interview, we were like, "Oh, wouldn't it be amazing if there were two jobs?" Because we worked so well together on that group exercise we did.
It's a good day. It was, and it was just
So
like
maybe-
how ironic that 3 months later it's like, oh, there's another role available. Do you want it? So shout out to
Yeah.
Mod Ronan for leaving. Cheers, Ronan. Or was it Merchant actually? I think Merchant left, didn't he?
Merchant Ronan left
One of the
after
two.
because he moved on to social. Yeah.
Yeah, he moved into social. Oh, that's right. He moved into social, which meant that the community management job came up, and I took that.
So mobile, I learned a lot in a really short period of time. And if you remember, mobile was meant to come out in winter 2017, and it didn't. But I had nothing to do with that delay. Or this one. Just clarify. That made it sound like this one was me too.
Oh, so that's why you're leaving. I see. 2 days before you're off, and it's like, all right, let's just drop this. Leagues is being delayed. Thanks, Sween.
Someone in the chat just said we're reminiscing about the good old days to avoid the fact they took another L today. I mean, that's not really true. I really want the opportunity to kind of talk about how much I've enjoyed Jagex and the old school team and the old school community. But I guess with 1 day left, if this is how the chat's going to be, then I'm happy to end the call and just be like, all right, let's call it. But I love old school. I love the community. I'm going to be a part of the community. So I do enjoy this opportunity we have right now to kind of talk about, the good things. So
You got a
carry
lot
on.
of support, but then this third message that I said was, all right, bye then. They're like, out of here. Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, let's just take it back a second, right? Because I guess we've got this format, and you're normally good at speaking openly, and like you've got 1 day left to go, so I'm sure that
Normally.
you'll be a little bit more brash than usual. But let's just talk about the
What are
whole
they gonna do,
league
fire
delay,
me?
right? Yeah, no, hold on, because I'm still responsible here, okay? So maybe not. But like the league's delay, ultimately, like, to put it bluntly, we get it. We know that a lot of people are pissed off, right? It sucks, especially if you've booked time off.
It is
To
blood
find
league.
out 2 weeks
Big word.
before. Yeah, I mean, to find out 2 weeks before, it's not great. It's definitely not ideal for those of you that can't reschedule. But ultimately, as Marcos mentioned before, like, there was a lot of thought that went into it, a lot of data that's backed the decision. It's just really unfortunate the way that the schedule's turned out. And it's easy for me to say because I didn't book time off, right? I'm not in the situation where I was really looking forward to having 2 weeks off, for example, to smash the league out. But I was a pretty big advocate myself of delaying the league till next year. I've seen a lot of the memes about, Jagex overlords again and the executives making decisions, but a lot of the team do get involved in the decisions. We might not be able to make absolutely every decision or have the final say, but we can have our own kind of like input on them. And it's not that we didn't feel like people would be annoyed or upset, frustrated. Of course that's going to happen, but it was also you got to think about those people, the other side of players as well that aren't speaking up right now, that are happy, those that are just getting on with playing Group Ironman that would have probably ended up stopping playing because half their team ended up moving across for a 6-week league. Then there's the whole festive period and people wanting to enjoy spending time with their family, and burnout, having 2 leagues, like 2 game modes right next to each other. So yeah, I personally was in favor of delaying it till the new year. I think putting it in January is a really strong position. We get the opportunity to have next before then, and then also do next in the league, which is going to be really cool. You get to probably try out some methods that you would never be able to do in the main game on something that's still super, super fresh. So, yeah, I know it's not ideal, but ultimately it is what it is. And I guess the way to wrap this point up now is that the decision has kind of like been made, and neither myself or Sween have the ability to change that decision now. We're not in a position to do that. This is Sween's final stream that he's going to be on. We want to ask some questions, have a little bit of fun, hear what he's got to say. You can ask some questions yourself. And that's pretty much it. So don't be mean about leagues. We're sorry.
No. If you're dissatisfied, express it. It's constructive as possible.
Okay.
Also,
but don't be don't be mean to Sween today for the next 35 minutes. That's all. Be mean to me, but not Sween.
Well, all right. So, league's decision. I think if we look at the decision to delay without any other look at it not holistically. Don't consider how close it is or the fact that we'd already announced it type thing. I think the decision to delay leagues is a good one. But then if you then consider things like, so it's only 2 weeks until it starts. We announced it back in September, like September 17th. That all of those things add to it, then make it more of a controversial decision and more of a difficult decision to make. That's where I really sympathize, which is it's not necessarily the decision itself that's a bad decision, because I think it's a good one. But I think all the other circumstances and context surrounding it, that's what makes it such a spicy one. And I see some players say to poll it, we can't do that. That's a precedent. We can't go down. We poll game content. We don't poll release dates. We can't poll like lunch breaks or holidays and that type of stuff too.
Don't give them any ideas.
I get that. I sympathise. I think the one thing I'd really encourage players to take away is that I'm going to kind of put him on the spot here. I think Mod Marcos is going to be amazing for old school. I really enjoyed working with him back in 2018 when he was kind of temporarily looking after the game, and he was great. He just let the old school team do what the old school team best. And now he's back. And honestly, so I told players I was leaving a couple of weeks ago, but obviously I've known that I was leaving for a little while now. I just didn't tell players as soon as I did. When I heard Marcos was going to come into old school, that's when I was like, oh wait, this is going to be really cool. So I think, yes, the release schedule planning wasn't as best it could be. We put too close together. But I don't think that's going to happen again. I think the planning that's taken place, and I've been privy to it in kind of, some of the last meetings I've been in, it's looking really good. It's really exciting, really positive for Old School's future. I'm going to carry on playing the game on my Group Ironman on my main account. If I wasn't excited about the future of the game, then I wouldn't play. And don't give me that. I am carrying our team.
On, here we go.
Don't tell me to play more. Why don't you log in and do your
I've been at Wintertodt for 3 days. I've got way more levels than you have. Oh, sorry, Sween. I do need to get back on though. You're right. I've only done something. I think it's like 23 Wintertodt kill count, which is pretty poor. So.
No, look. I get why people are frustrated with it, and we knew that was going to be the case. The decision itself, I really, personal opinion, think it's a good one. But like I said, with the context of how close it is to the league starting, the fact that we'd already announced it, people have made different plans, that makes it really tough to swallow. But I just encourage players to, sure, express and vent your frustration. It's warranted. It is warranted. You're not acting irrationally. But then also try and I know we've always done this, and I don't know how many times I've said, come on, trust us, countless times, but do it. I think we're going to be set up for a really strong next year. The team, I know people talk about slow content releases, or the old school team got bigger. Yeah, but it takes time to train them. Training takes time away from experienced people as well. We're set up for such a, I say we, because I still do consider myself as part of the team. We're set up for such a strong future. Like an exec producer coming in is going to be awesome for us. The team have grown and expanded. It's going to be good.
Thank you, Sween. A beautiful wordsmith as always. Sending a sound, solid message. It is much appreciated though, and I think it's one of the things I'm going to miss the most. Nothing to do with our friendship or anything. It's I can always rely on you to be able to turn around and make a sentence so much more beautiful. So, all right.
What's happening, man? I'll be there.
Yeah. Do you know what? Okay, fine. I'm going to voice note you now for every moment on. Sani, next time you need to get some socials reviewed, we'll just hit up Sween, okay? Guy's direct line. We'll give him a call. So we were talking about projects, right? Before we went down the little bit about leagues here. And you mentioned about mobile, but you said there was a few others. Do you want to quick fire them out?
Yeah, you know what? The Summer Summit, I was really happy with. I think it was needed at the right time. It was like a bit of a dearth of content. And whilst we might still be among that, some people say a game mode is content. Yes and no, pros and cons to that. The Summer Summit came at a time when the players didn't know a thing about what was coming. Didn't know they were working on a raid. Didn't know we were working on leagues, that type of thing. And I think what I really enjoyed about the summit was that was an initiative that really came from us as the old school community team. We kind of identified the need for it. We put our proposals together, how it could work, and then we were able to get buy-in from it. And obviously, I'm going to start a new job. That's why I'm leaving. And it takes time to go through those kind of, don't give me that face, little puppy dog. It takes time to get, the interview process for a new job, but also takes time to set up the Summer Summit. So I was kind of doing both these things at the same time. And part of me was like, I'm really excited about what we're talking about, what we're announcing, the actual event we're going on, but also knowing that I probably wouldn't be around to deliver some of the things. But so the Summit is definitely one thing I'm proud of. Even though it wasn't like a long-lasting project like game content or a platform release like mobile.
It was so fun.
It's kind of fresh in my mind because it was fun to do. It was needed at the time.
Yeah,
similarly,
I think that...
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the Summer Summit was one of the biggest moments of this year, at least, where we saw some positivity coming through, because we had it's been a pretty... I don't want to make it seem too bad, because it's definitely not been bad, but compared to previous years, I think this has been one of the most difficult in terms of managing the sentiment around content that's coming out and our release cadence and that kind of stuff, for sure. And yeah, when the Summer Summit hit, it was just I think everyone just felt kind of re-energized again, didn't they? There was just such a buzz around the entire team.
And I think there are a few reasons for that. I don't want to managing the sentiment, for example. I think we've already acknowledged that content-wise, we've not really ticked every box that we should have done, that we need to. Mm-hmm. But then also, I think as players, and I'm going to probably talk for the chat here, as players, you're probably still working a mix of remote working, or maybe you're still, if you're in a country offering it on a furlough scheme, or you're still laid up, and you've got more free time, and because of that you become a bit more passionate about games. That's how I'd react, right? If my normal work life routine was disrupted so massively, I've got so much more time at home on games, I'm going to be more vociferous. I'm going to be talking about it even more and more and more. So then we're juggling that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I get I get it for sure. I understand. Like, and I think whenever I love community management. So people asking about what my next job is. I don't know if there's a question about that later on. I'm still working in community, another studio. I think I always will. I love community management. I think it's just the ability to kind of empathy for, if someone's being a dick on Twitter, maybe they are a dick, or maybe there's, you look beyond the reasoning. Maybe you look beyond the pale for as to why. And that's what I kind of enjoy most about community.
Mm-hmm. There's quite a lot of interesting times actually that will happen where someone who is perceived as being really, I'll use a different word, toxic online especially, with a lot of angry opinions and just this huge amount of frustration built up. But there's been so many moments where I've reached out to them on a more direct basis, spoke about it, figured out what the underlying problems are, and before you know it, actually they're all really easily solvable. And then when they're solved, suddenly the person's no longer toxic or angry or frustrated and sending interesting messages across. And I think that is one of the beautiful things about community management, actually, is being how to have that interaction with players. And one of the good things about RuneScape and old school especially, is like that connection. Whilst it may be a blessing and a curse, it's definitely got some really, really, really good moments to it.
And then if we think to the Marcus's first stream a few weeks ago, again, similar impact to like the Summer Summit in a way, because we're able to, the old school community were calling out, like everybody here was calling out for that, it's very senior level stance on tons of different things. And we're able to finally deliver it. And we're able to kind of introduce Mod Marcus to the community in such a way. It's like, yes, look, sometimes they just want to know that they're being heard. And we know that internally, always are. But they want to hear it themselves.
For sure.
What questions you got for me?
All right, then we've got actually quite a lot of chat questions. Some of them are really good, but I got a few more that I want to ask you first that are just very, like generic questions. But already we're getting some pretty decent answers, so thank you, Sween. Let's do the flip of the last question, and that is, which project have you least enjoyed working on?
Least enjoyed?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard a few angry words come out of that mouth, and I've seen that face go red. I know there's a few projects out there that have got the blood pressure up there. Come on, Sween.
I'm always very calm. Always very calm.
Always very calm, yeah.
Well, I vent, but like try and do it comedically. So there's never any. You'll hear me run and swear and say a lot of choice things, but it's always used. That's just how I like my creative outlet. I just try and make you laugh. And it works most of the time. And it makes me feel better about it. And you do too, right? We impersonate players with our funny voices, and it makes us feel better. Okay, I don't really have I can't think of a project I just really despised. But I think, so I love RuneFest, love it so much. But we have to do, for community, we have to do a lot of organization, a lot of prep, then do a lot of kind of on the day stuff. And then if you're someone who's close to the game or close to a project, maybe go on stage and announce, do some stuff at the Golden Gnome Awards. I love RuneFest after it's happened, but as a weekend, oh my god, it's so stressful. Managing it I'm a community manager, so I manage community managers. So managing people on the day, doing other tasks myself, and then having to organize other stuff, do other work ahead of time for what we're doing next week, the week after RuneFest. Then go on stage, then come back, then go on stage, and then come back. Then do a lot of post-content things like getting the videos and the keynotes up. Oof. After RuneFest, however, you look back on it and you're like, okay, cool. That was worth it. It was great.
Okay, all right. Relatable, actually. There is a massive difference between going to RuneFest as a staff member and going as a player. And I've got to experience both now, thankfully, in that little 1 year and a bit stint of me not working here, where I went to one of the last RuneFest we had, actually, wasn't it? 2019?
It was, yeah. And then I was able to bring you back last year.
Yeah. And now you're going, whoa. But yeah, definitely relatable.
Good.
Okay, so a little bit different, but kind of samey. What's your favourite thing about working at Jagex, Sween?
I think people. And that's a really easy opt-out answer, but my community management team, you Light and Sani, awesome, and the old school team, and also the players as well. Like, as much as it breaks me sometimes opening up Reddit for the day, I'm like, oh, really? I do love it. I do like the engagement and stuff. It is really fun. But I think that the team we've been able to build is so strong. It was one of the hardest things I had to, when it came to like making my decision to leave. It was one of the hardest factors I had to consider. Was, you know, to consider like the middle of last year, it was just me. Then I was able to bring you back, able to bring Sani and Light on board. So that's probably my favourite thing, is the actual management aspect.
Okay, that's sweet. And now, you know, you've spent all this time and effort and energy building up this great team just to let it all go. You sure it's not too late? Still got one more day.
I know, that's what I keep hearing. I'm like, oh.
Right.
will. I've said this to you, and I think the players have asked as well. Would you ever go back?
Well, oh yeah, I remember you saying that you'll stay if there's a GoFundMe. What was it that it needs to reach again? Like 2,
That's
3?
not what I said. You filthy liar. Toxic man.
All right.
I
Sorry.
said I would come back to Jagex one day. I love the studio. I love the game. I'd come back one day. I don't know if you've got a question like why am I leaving or something like that. I don't know if you have or not.
I
maybe
do.
I'll talk to it then.
It's 2 questions
Oh,
away from now. Yeah.
All right, we'll save it for then. But I will come back one day. I think for sure.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm sure that the players will be too, and the community as a
Clarify
whole.
you're lying, by the way, about the GoFundMe.
Yes, I'm
thing.
lying. Sween did not ask for a GoFundMe for 1, 2, or 300k. All right, it was 450. No, it didn't exist. Okay, it was just a really poor joke. Okay, let's move on, and then we can talk about maybe not the GoFundMe, but the reason as to why. But before then, what's the least favorite thing about working at Jagex in your opinion?
It's a good question. I think
I know mine straight away.
I'm intrigued now. I think we're a really vocal studio, especially as a really vocal game team, very prolific with the amount we talk to players. But I don't think we're perfect. That's my least favorite thing. I think Marcos spoke about it earlier. What if we told players we were considering a league's delay when we were considering a league's delay, and explain the reasoning then, and try to get some kind of buy-in and trust and that kind of thing? I think it's that, frankly.
Okay.
And you know what? And I'm not trying to kind of like mince my words or something, because I just said I'd come back to Jagex one day. I do love the studio. It was a tough question. I think we're going to get to that point. I say you're going to get to that point of being able to take the transparency and then the community engagement to the very next level. Particularly, you know, we mentioned earlier that we were in like a all afternoon meeting about polling, and you know, what can we do with polling to give players more say and content. We can't poll release dates. That's I think personally that's silly. I understand why players are asking for it, but what can we do? How can we maybe revamp the polling system to give players more say?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so let's get on to the age. Oh, also just quickly, your answer was way more mature than what mine was. God damn. I was going to say the toilets. I really dislike the toilets at Jagex.
You know what? That's the benefit of
working from
barely
home.
anybody
It's
being
fantastic.
here now. Well, I'm in the
yeah,
office
okay.
now. Not many people here. Sometimes though, it is vile. You'd think like swamp monsters had been in the cubicle before you.
Oh, the worst part is you're not even joking.
Rancid.
But hey.
Rancid.
Okay, quickly moving on. Okay, it's phrased in an unserious way, but it is a serious question because I know there's a lot of you know, conspiracy theories and tinfoil hat wearers that like to put together reasons and so on and so forth. So I'm going to ask you it in this way, very specifically. Are you leaving because you're fed up of being overworked and underpaid?
No, that's not why I'm leaving. I put up with it for 6 years. No, I'm joking. I'll give you a list of why a list of things which aren't reasons why I'm leaving. Like
I thought you were going to go a list of reasons as to why. I'm like, dude, you didn't have anything that you didn't like about here.
Number 1, Moraiza. Can't stand the guy.
Oh, God.
No, like, so I'm not leaving because we're paid poorly. And I see this. I'm going to talk to it now. We refrain from it because I think it's unprofessional, perhaps. But I'm leaving tomorrow, so why not? I see all the things about Glassdoor and like everyone being paid I'm going to swear then, I can't do that. Being paid like a really bad wage and stuff. I can speak from my experience, that's not the case. I can speak for community and publishing as well. So I've found, as both someone who's been offered a fair few roles by other studios based in the UK and like Western Europe, and also as a hiring manager, that we pay better than other studios for community and publishing roles.
Cool.
Like my answer to that.
So it's not the pay.
And I know you've got things like Glassdoor, and take that with a pinch of salt. And you know, a lot of those things are maybe from before we joined the studio. They maybe they're true then, but not now. I'm not leaving for money. I had another offer from over in the States that paid more than the one I'm taking. Money's not why I'm leaving. I'm also not leaving because I was part of a dual arena scheme. I saw that some dumb on Reddit said it's because I was taking bribes or something. Me and Flippy were taking bribes from the dual arena. That's not true either. You dumb. I'm not leaving in protest.
You wanted out of that, didn't you? Don't matter no more.
Shut up. I'm not leaving in protest of some kind of behind the scenes going on. I love the studio. I've got absolute faith in Marcos. If I talk to why I'm leaving, honestly, I just want to. I never intended to stay as long as I did. I don't want that to land badly. I joined back in 2015, fresh from uni. I'm gonna avoid giving you like my life story, but I studied like lit and politics. I was gonna go and do a master's in broadcast journalism over in Vancouver, just because I thought it'd be nice to go there. I needed money, and I used to play RuneScape when I was younger, and I picked up Old School when it came out. I saw Jagex were hiring for a part-time player support guy. I took the job, and I was going to stay for like 6 months or something, just to get enough money to go and do a master's degree. And then I actually really liked working here. I was just part-time at the time, like 20 hours a week, evenings and nights and stuff in support team, looking after like call-outs and escalations and some moderation stuff. Because I knew the game more than others, I was made full-time quite quickly, and then I was kind of onboarded onto the management plan, the training scheme in the player support team, and I was eventually offered the ability to move to community and Old School, and then start managing it. Then I moved into video marketing and social marketing in Old School around mobile time, and came back into community to manage as a senior and then a lead. So Jagex gave me like tons of opportunity to stay, and that's why I've stayed for so long. But ultimately, I've just kind of had the itch to go and try something new. Like all right, I want to go and launch a new game. I think it'd be really cool. That's what I'm going to do. I'm joining a new studio. I'm going to launch a new game. I just want to try it.
Spread your wings and fly.
Yeah, and then come back one day. I'm totally up for it. I love the team. I love the game. That's pretty much why I want to go and try it.
You know what? It's a very, very respectable reason as to why to move jobs, actually. So there you go, Reddit conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat wearers. That is the real reason why Sween's leaving. At least the reason he's telling you today. No, sorry, I shouldn't do that really. All right, we've got some questions from Twitch chat, which I'd like to get through. Mate, they love you. We have got a lot. Someone's name has been redacted, so you must have been a very naughty person. The first question comes from Philip on Tacos 399, and they have asked what your favorite content is in the game.
Oh God, I can only speak historically. My favorite ever era of Old School was still when I was in the clan warring scene, and it's just like Clan Wars Arena every weekend, ranked wars, and then mini wars and stuff midweek. I did that for a little bit when I came back to Old School, But then juggling that with Jagex, I just couldn't really do it. I didn't have time. So yeah, RSB Warring. Remedy. Yeah, someone in the chat said Remedy. That's correct. That's the clan I ran. Right now, I'm enjoying carrying in the group Iron Man group we've got with you, Archie, and Cam. Don't roll your eyes at me. You called me out on Twitter.
Yeah, you didn't log in for 3 days.
I was lonely about you. Well, then I logged in, and I didn't log out for 3 days. Apart from the 6
Yeah,
hour.
all right.
logs.
Well, sorry, I've been taking apart furniture. All right. I'm trying. I actually, you know what? I can't believe you haven't mentioned Vorkath. The amount of time that you spent at Vorkath when that came out, and you were like playing on mobile, and it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get 1,000 kill count. I'm like, why? Because it's fun and good money. Why not?
Well, you got the pet in what 30 kills or something ridiculous.
I think it was like 76 or no, maybe it was like 200 kills actually. Oh, I don't know. It was less than 200. I'm pretty sure. I got spooned it.
That's what I wanted. Yeah. So and then.
Yeah, I remember you saying like, "You can't have pet, and I can't have one. I've got to get it now." And then you just wouldn't stop playing Vorkath. That's exactly how it went, isn't it?
Then I gave up. I didn't hit the rate at all. I think I only my kill count. I stopped. My kill count's only like 1,600. I might even be lying about that high. I don't know. Someone knows my RSN. You can check. And then I got onto. I found it really fun playing doing Zulrah on mobile. I remember in the drive to work. I wasn't driving. I was just like Zulrah mobile all the time, just trying to get as many kills as I can on the way to work.
Apparently, your kill count is 1,673. Wow, you weren't even lying. So,
is that true?
Someone said that in chat, but they could also be lying. So, yeah.
Look,
you can check it out while I go on to the next question, which is from Monkey Mojo, and they have asked, "What are the areas Old School needs to focus on going forward?"
Oh no, it's not. It's 1384. I was lying, and so was that player.
Oh, 1384.
What we need to focus on, I think, focus on tighter planning, tighter scheduling, making sure the cadence of releases, make sure there's always something for everybody to be doing and looking forward to. I think we found it towards the end of this year. I hope no one might be saying this. Well, I mean, you've got
what are we gonna do?
To tell me if you do. That's it exactly. We bundled a lot of big releases towards the end of the year. And then we realised that's a terrible idea. And then we've also had to start pushing things back, like the PvP changes and the Rev changes and the Wilderness balancing changes. We took on so many infrastructural and systems-based and interface-based projects that it led to like a deluge of, not a deluge, the opposite, like a dearth of cool playable features, stuff to kill, stuff to interact with, because they were like, here's a new system. And we promised the clan system for such a long time, we had to do it. Similarly, like the improvements to the game client, we have to do that. It's going to have such a cool effect on the rest of the game, on things like mobile. But maybe juggling so many different systems-based and interface-based stuff, whilst it's good for the game's longevity, maybe we can afford to move some of them back and bring in cool features at the same time. So you've got something that's playable, in addition, that's something that's going to support like the stability of the game. That makes sense? I don't know, rambling.
The whole thing made sense. However, you used two words that I did not. I don't think I've heard them be put into a sentence before. You said deluge and then dearth, and I just had to Google both of them to figure out what their meanings are. A deluge is a severe flood or overwhelm with a flood, and then a dearth is a scarcity or lack of something. There is a dearth of evidence, or there is a dearth of content.
Cool. Today's word is
Wow, fantastic. All right, sweet, thank you. Polo Boy has asked if you are going to start streaming because he'd love to watch you play.
Oh, you wouldn't. I'd be so boring, honestly. I'm not. I've in my spare time I've been like just messing around with like illustration and animation and stuff. So I might do some on the side content creation just for fun, not looking to
do that podcast.
Make a job out of it. Yeah, me and I were talking about doing a podcast a little while back. That didn't really get going. Again, just for fun. I'm not going to start streaming. I'm going into another job that's going to take up like all of my time, and I'll enjoy it. But I might mess around with some things. I've been playing with animation, modeling, illustration. So I'm doing some OSRS theme stuff on the side when I've got a bit of spare time. It'd be fun.
I'm going to need to see an old school RuneScape inspired video. Sween, make it happen.
All right.
Cool.
That's some ideas.
All right. Okay. All right. I look forward to it. I'm Not Sentry has asked who you will miss working with the most at Jagex.
It's obviously you.
Oh, that's cute. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, it's
It'd be
true
really-
though. Like,
It would be a bit awkward if you didn't say me right now, wouldn't it? But
I mean, I've got tons of friends here, and there's obviously one of the reasons why I stuck around for such a long time. I've got a lot of friends.
yeah.
I've been tweeting about the Jagex football team and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like the day-to-day work, and also we're good friends outside of the office. We have a lot of a lot of fun. Me, you, Archie, and Cam, a lot of group.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we do. We are good friends, and I'm going to really, really miss you. But it's okay. I'm not going down that road on the stream. It's fine.
I also want
I
to
can handle it.
I've realised I haven't tweeted about it because of the league stuff. I thought it'd get missed. But the Jagex Jaguars 5-a-side team finished our season on Tuesday, and we played 10 on 110. We 100%ed it.
Hey, clean sheet. Congratulations. Sport ball.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. We've still got a little bit of time. Renthal said, Sween, if you could steal one thing from the Jagex offices with no chance of being caught, what would you take? P.S. Love the beard as always.
Thank you. Well, still, I'm looking around. Like, I think maybe any kind of old school memorabilia would be really cool. A lot of the banners or the weapons and things would be really nice. I can't think of anything else I'd take.
Chat's responses are great. They would all just steal me.
I
mean, like if Sween did, then that's fine. If you guys did, I think that's called kidnapping and it's illegal. so maybe not. So some old school memorabilia. You could take anything out of the whole office, and that's what you would take. Not the coffee machine, not the vending machine filled with stuff, not like a supercomputer. What you take an old school RuneScape bottle opener.
Something better than that, or at least a big grab
You
bag.
could even
full
take
of
the
junk.
lovely chair thing that you've got there and put it in the middle of your apartment. But no, you want that bottle opener.
This would be useless in my flat. What am I going to do?
Imagine having your TV in the gap. You know where the gap is? Put the TV right there. Put your headset on. You've got your own little pod.
So
Better than a bottle opener.
So I'm in like a kind of U-shaped thing. For anyone watching, and is like, what? That's still where I'm sat right now. I'm not.
Yeah.
You said a bottle opener, not me.
You said
I'm
old
like,
school
what
memorabilia, and that's a piece of memorabilia.
Like a big banner or cool artwork and stuff. I mean,
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
that
Way
anyway.
more
I
useful.
might-
Way more useful than a bottle opener, of course. Yeah, get a picture.
Memories. Get people to sign it. And what
Sorry,
use
I'll
have I
stop-
got
I'll
for like a
stop
supercomputer? What am I going to do? Just like start mining Bitcoin
eBay.
or something? eBay.
Oh
Near
no,
the
it's like a
Jagex
nice little
server.
bonus at you at the end, right? Okay,
Yeah.
well, there you go, Rin. Sween would steal some old school memorabilia, not a bottle opener.
Well,
probably a picture.
I've got coffee machines. I don't want to sell the vending machines. 'Cause what's the point? Like, I have to stock them. It's not like it's going to be stocked eternally. I'll have an empty vending machine in a day.
True.
It's sat there.
Oh god,
Nice one.
Yeah, you mean you might be able to put that outside. You could set up a new business.
Zuko's mentioned the BAFTA. That's a good shout. That's locked
Okay.
away. I think there is like one of the the community management award we won in 2018. I think
Oh,
that's
yeah, the
knocking around
MCV.
somewhere. So I might have to go pinch that.
Okay, all right. Well, you're not going to
Authentic
get
one.
caught, so it's fine. You're allowed to. The next question is from Hatch, and they've asked, "Oh, this is a good one. What is one thing you wish you could have stopped coming to the game since you started at Jagex?"
Oh, so like if I could have vetoed anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. Okay. I agree with one of your controversial opinions about the player-owned house, about how it's too much of a one-stop shop. I like the
Delete
fact
player-owned
that
houses.
construction. I know, don't delete it. I remember being on the forums, so
Okay, Mr. Serious. I
years
didn't actually
back
mean
before
delete it.
before construction launched, they spoke about I say they like Jagex in 2004, 2005 spoke about player-owned houses for a while. I remember being on the forums, just being like, "When is it going to come? When are we going to get this stuff?" So I like it, but I think it is too overpowered. That said, I don't think we can undo it now. It's too entrenched. But I'd like to have gone back and maybe slightly affected it.
Okay. I feel like if player-owned houses were added into the game now, they would be so much different from what they are, because I'm just laughing at the thought of some of the things that are offered in there, and if we were to put that into a poll, get obliterated. Oh god. Do you know what? I know that I didn't get asked the question, but if it was me, I'm just going to steal the moment to give an answer. If I could veto one thing, it would be Bounty Hunter V2. Because if Bounty Hunter V2 never came out, then it means that Bounty Hunter V1 never got removed. And it would still be in game now.
When it comes to things like Bounty Hunter, there are lots of things I'd like to have done differently. We were told to announce it twice in a row, and then the dev time for it was taken away from us, and then it just created so much animosity that eventually we had to do something. That whole thing was an absolutely...
It was just a mess, wasn't it, really?
Bad word. Yes, it was. That should have been done differently. Yeah. If I could go back, I would absolutely. I mean, I've got confidence now that we'd never get into such a state.
Yeah, I think the support arms were very different back then, though, right? I mean, I remember talking about it originally, and it was like a case of, okay, if we're going to announce this at RuneFest again, we have to make sure that it's coming out. So I announced it at RuneFest again, and then it didn't come out. And then it didn't come out until way later in the next year either. And as you said, then at that point, I'd left then. So don't really know much what happened, but it is a shame. It is a shame. I'm hopeful that one day we'll see a return of Bounty Hunter or something very similar to it. There's a few ideas that have been floating around in ideation that I put together myself as well. And I know that there's a lot of hopeful support for next year for some form of PvP updates at least. So obviously wait until you see a roadmap though before you take my word for that. All right, sweet. So I'm not going to ask the redacted question. I'll go to the next one. This is from BG17205, and they've said, Sween, do you have a tip for somebody whose absolute dream it is to work for Jagex? We love you. We do.
Thank you. I love you too. This is a good question. I think consider what you're applying for. I never told this. So before I joined the old school CM team, I tried to join the old school QA team purely because it was old school and I wanted to work on old school. But I don't have a technical mind at all. I had an interview with Matt K and John C, flunked it so quickly, and they were like, there's no point, carry on. I was like, all right, cool, I get it. So whilst you really want to work for old school, right, consider if you have the skill set for what you're applying for, and then tailor your application accordingly. I know that's really boring. But I'd love to hire everybody who was a fan of old school, but the skill set is really key. And demonstrating, and whilst you might not have formal experience, I didn't have formal experience before I joined Jagex, and before I joined community management, and before I joined video and social marketing, but I was able to at least demonstrate previous experience and where skills were, relevant.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good advice, actually. It may be boring, but it's sound and it's solid. I didn't have any experience in the games industry either before I joined Jagex, but I had a lot of transferable skills that helped me massively, and also the right attitude, as well as the knowledge of the game back then, or at least some knowledge. But yeah, really, really important. I think what you said there is definitely about making sure that you've got the right skill set, and if not, making sure that you start tailoring yourself towards having that skill set, even if it's not in gaming.
The skills. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Acquire the skills. Development is pretty universal. If you're looking at QA, also again pretty universal. From a coding side of things, a lot of that is industry practice and following through the the process. Things like community management, you can get a lot of transferable skills from things such as account management, business development, customer support, relationship management, that kind of stuff. So there's definitely a lot of ways you can get. I mean, art, just be really good at drawing. I don't really know much else to do with the art side of things, but I can't imagine that if you weren't very good at drawing, you'd be able to get a job in art. Maybe you would, but yeah, okay. There's a question here that's actually kind of related, following on from there, and this is from Panzer for the Win, and they say, "What's your opinion on developing new skills?"
I'm assuming this is referring to
hold on.
in-game
Yeah,
skills,
I think they mean in-game
rather
skills,
than
not
like
developing life
personal
skills.
skills.
So maybe not related, but yeah, I mean, you could be. You can tell them about your opinion. How does it feel to learn something new in life, Sween?
Let's focus on the game skills stuff.
Okay.
I would vote yes to a new skill if it was the right skill for the game, and I think there are areas where we could introduce new skills. I think if we look at every skill poll to date, there were failings there that meant people didn't necessarily vote on the strength of the content, but more the information I had available. Like sailing and artisan didn't have too much in the way of information about the skill, and I think, perhaps, I think this was before our time, actually. It was, yeah. If we'd been able to offer the same level of detail we did with warding as with sailing and artisan, perhaps there would have been more opportunity. Similarly, had we been able to put more time in game, showing some vertical slices, how the content worked, that type of stuff. And then with warding, I think we took way too long between the announcement of RuneFest and then actually starting to blogging and talk about the skill. And by that point, vote no to warding was a meme. And I know some players might say, no, that's how it really felt. Like, no, it's not. That's honestly, you probably forgot about it. And then you saw vote no to warding. He typed it in chat when he saw it because it was funny. I wholeheartedly believe that. Because for 6 months or so, 7 months or so, we didn't talk about it ourselves. And we lost the kind of momentum on that. We weren't able to quickly address a lot of the criticisms of it. And then there's also some valid criticisms too that we weren't able to properly address. Like, this isn't a new skill, it's similar to other skills that already exist. So I think if we're able to provide the level of detail we did rewarding for other skills like sailing or artisan, something a bit more playable, more feature driven, then maybe there'd be more of an opportunity. But I would also like to just poll, would you like a new skill? And this isn't necessarily binding, it's more of a, yeah, I'd like a new skill if it's the right one. Or, yes, I'm desperate for a new skill. Or, no, I'd never vote for a skill no matter what. Or, no, but I'm open to hearing more. And then we can kind of gauge it from there. And then we can start looking at what types of skills would go. I think there's tons of different ideas. And I think the last annual survey we did, we put a few in front of players and they were quite popular. Different from maybe RS reported ones or the ones we've already spoke about. But I can't remember what we called it. But maybe the ability to grow your own towns or that type of thing. I think there is room for one. I'd like to see one, not for the sake of just adding a new skill
to build a town.
Yeah, but just if we can identify a right bit of gameplay, add a skill, it'd be cool.
Sorry, I was just making a really bad joke. You said about grow your own town, and it's like you need a pretty big pot to grow a town.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Pretty much. No, I mean, even production in my ear is saying I don't get it, and neither do I, really. Shouldn't have really clarified that I made that. I should have just let it be lost with Sween's voice, but never mind. I've got one last question to ask you, which comes in from Colin Sawyer. And Colin, out of everything, would like to know, what hot meal will you miss the most from the canteen, Sween?
Joke answer would be the sausage bap that, we've seen photos of how good they are. But
was that the one that
with bacon?
I think it was meant to be both from Skidder.
Yeah. But honestly though, the food here is really good. That was just unfortunate. The omelets in the morning are amazing. I used to get spinach and mushroom omelet every morning. Awesome. So tasty.
Yeah, they were good. That's one thing that I also miss. Although now I just get to make breakfast myself. So
I don't eat breakfast now. I just have black coffee until lunchtime.
Yeah, that's because you're crazy. I never used to eat breakfast until I started eating breakfast, and now I can't stop eating breakfast. Otherwise, I get really, really hungry. Anyway, that is a little bit unrelated. I'm going to re-go over the announcements just to summarize. If you also missed it, we did have Mod Marcos on the stream at the very start, and we were talking about the Leagues 3 delay, as well as the content planning for 2022, and then Deadman rerun, a little update on that. So I'd really advise you just to go check back at the start of the stream, either wait for the VOD to be listed up on YouTube or check back on past broadcasts. You can actually go check it now and you'll see it should be there already, and you can just rewind. But game update, we want to hear from you. Our newest game update gives you the chance to test out the rewards for both Tombs of Amaska and Nex. We've already got feedback rolling in, so make sure to jump onto one of the beta worlds and tell us what you think. Now, I know you might be thinking that's pointless, and you've already given your feedback based off what you read in the blog, but we've already seen quite a lot of people that have changed their opinions. I'm not trying to twist your arm. I'm just saying, go give it a try. Prove me wrong. If you still dislike the rewards, then that is absolutely fine. We will look at reworking them, but please have a go at trying them out in game, in different areas, places that you might think that they're useful, and let us know what you think once you've actually tried it in game. Now, once you've done that, or maybe whilst you're doing that, you can also head over to Varrock Square to help the Edgeville monks in our Spooktacular Halloween event. Really, really fun event. Shouldn't take you too long to do, and you get some nice rewards from it as well. And that's not all. You can also check out the third drop of the new Steam client features, including XP trackers and more. All that information is available in Game Update. Now, obviously, as you are probably well aware, Leagues 3 will give you the information about our discussion and our deliberations regarding delaying the launch of Leagues 3 Shattered Relics. That is now going to be coming out in January 2022, and it will be playable between the 19th of January until the 2nd of March. Leagues 3 in chat to find out the latest, and that's with the number 3. And then lastly, Melvor Idle. What do you AFK when you're playing old school? Well, the obvious answer is Melvor Idle. It's a feature-rich RuneScape, or old school, double account it up. A feature-rich RuneScape-inspired idle game that's now being supported and published by Jagex partners. Find out more about the new partnership with Melvor Idle. For those of you that were listening earlier, I did my farm run. I managed to collect, I think it was something like 600 watermelons. So, pretty good. That's all I have for announcements at the moment. Well, for today, there aren't going to be any more in a moment later because the stream's going to end. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sween, honestly, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I am so sad to see you go. More sad.
I don't want the stream to end. More questions.
No, I mean, we'll carry on. I'm sure Druid won't mind. Okay. Druid has to leave at 6:30. I mean, we could just we can just stay here. You're gonna have to sleep there though, Sween. On that little pod.
It's so curved. That'd be the most awful night's sleep ever.
It'll be like it's like a big spoon, a really big spoon. Only you're not spooning anything. You're just in the position.
Lonely.
Yeah. I'd say I'd come and join you, but it's quite a way away, so I'm not gonna, unfortunately. But I will come and see you soon because I'm going to have to now because I won't get to see you on Zoom anymore.
That's going to suck, not being able to chat on Zoom or Slack.
Yep. I'm going to send you voice notes all the time.
I'm going to have to make new friends. Oh my gosh.
No, you're not. Actually, no. You are allowed to make new friends. I'm sorry. I'm not in control of you or the relationships that you make. Just don't forget about me.
Oh, of course not. I don't really know what to say other than thank you to everybody for the last 6 years have been awesome. I only joined the old school team in 2017, but I was quite active in a player facing role, even in support, and it's been awesome. It's why I got into community management. It's why I'm staying in community management as a career choice, is because of how great this community is, and I'm going to be comparing every other community against it. Ooh. I'll come back one day.
So if the community are really, 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 really good, really, really nice, really engaged and active, then Sween's going to have to turn around to everywhere else he works and this is the standard. So ultimately, I guess everyone at home, you're the ones that get to decide the level of quality of Sween's future work. That's basically what he's just said. So yeah, it's in your hands now.
Said, yeah, verbatim.
Yeah. I'm just going to derail quickly because this is someone asked a minute ago, have I ever spooned you in bed? That was from the Light Zone, and I don't think I have, but we did go on a canoeing trip not too long ago. We were camping. We went camping, and me and Sween shared a tent, and I woke up with Sween essentially just fully cuddling me, even though we were sleeping top and tail. So yeah,
That's not true. I was up before you.
That is true, Sween, because I had half of my airbed because you'd made yourself over to my half of it. I mean, I can go into detail if you prefer, but you probably might not want me to. It might not be suitable for the stream. Basically,
moving on.
No, we don't want to get banned, but we've not technically spooned. But Sween did steal half of my bed whilst we were camping in a tent, even though he woke up before me. It was a really, really good trip. Sween was the powerhouse on the back because let me just tell you, you noticed when he stopped rowing. That boat didn't move.
Even when we were both rowing, I'd be taking us one way. And I'd be like, all right, okay, I have to slow down a little bit.
Well, what can I say? You know, it's just that's what you get when you pair a Viking with a. What would I be in comparison? What's like the early Englishmen when the Viking raided and they just stood no chance? I guess that's just me, right? An Anglo-Saxon. I think that's pretty much the point where we should just go now, isn't it?
Maybe. As we start talking about Last Kingdom, that's a good watch. Recommend that.
That is a really, really good watch, actually. There should be a new season coming out soon. I keep hearing.
Right. Let's call it before we send into nonsense like we are.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we are being now threatened by production that they are going to hit the big red button that says end. So that is it from us. Thank you, everyone at home that has been watching. You've been an absolute delight. Apologies about the whole delay stuff and whatnot. Please watch the start of the stream. Listen to Marcos. And thank you for being super, super welcoming and lovely towards Sween on his last ever stream. You're not going to see his face again, ever. Remember this. Take a screen grab now, print it out.
Don't do that. Shut up. Stop it. Don't do that.
Get your best smiles. Smile, Sween. They're all print screening you now. You're gonna be added on Twitter. Okay, everyone in chat. I want everyone who has a Twitter account to take a screen grab of Sween's face. Maybe take it from the past broadcast. Go back through, find out as many fantastic freeze frames as possible, and tag him on Twitter. You've got 24 hours left of being able to go at JagXSween. Don't let me down. Also tag me so I can see them and laugh at them. Okay. Thank you.
Dude, you suck.
And that's it. That can be your farewell present, Sween.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Have a fantastic evening. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll probably see you next week. Sween will never see you again. Bye.
That's a lie. I'll be active on Twitter. I'll see you guys. Bye bye.